I gotta say, I was a bit blown away. I think it's one of the most enjoyable Marvel movies I've seen in a while. First comes to Tom Holland's development. In like the first movies, there's not much depth where Tom's Peter has gone through so much. Okay, spoilers ahead, watch at your own risk. So he loses his parents, then he loses his aunt, and then the world forgets about him. So in the movie, we see Peter struggling. You know, he's super lonely and he's just trying to do everything on his own. The only thing he has in his life going is being Spider-Man. He doesn't have any friends. So he carries that burden and we see him go through that. The spell made the world forget about Peter Parker. I think in this movie, he becomes the strongest Spider-Man out of all the Spider-Man. He even has the natural webs. Spider-Man is like an Uchiha. The more trauma he has, the stronger his ability gets. And instead of a Sharingan, he has this thing called the Arachnid. But moving on, another addition to this movie was the Punisher. The movie does a good job. I was laughing my ass off when he wore the mask in the hospital pretending as Peter Parker. And the villains are really good. We have Nacho Varga from Better Call Saul. Honestly, I wanted him to be unalive. I hated this man. He freaking deserves what was coming to him. This dude was the reason Jean Grey was on the loose. One thing I couldn't understand was why was Bruce Banner back to his human form. I thought he was permanently like the casted whole arm. They managed to return him to this gigantic form. It was really cool. I think he's bigger now and he really looks intimidating, one that could rival Edward Norton's Incredible Hulk. And I gotta say that the new movie Spider-Man Brand New Day doesn't need cameos. I feel like for the past MCU movies, but ever since Spider-Man No Way Home, people just kind of expect every movie to have cameos. Who's gonna be in the next movie? This Spider-Man movie Brand New Day was something that the MCU needed after watching this movie that Marvel is back. I enjoyed it enough that I didn't feel any disappointment that Andrew or Toby was not in here. The storyline was amazing. Spider-Man going through really hard times and getting back to his feet. They had also an amazing post-credit where they show Peter's location in space. There's a bunch of theories that are suggesting it's another Spider-Man, maybe it's Andrew or Toby. But overall, I think this movie was amazing. I would rate it an 9 out of 10. And I think it's because they focused on the characters that they have and not from other multiverses. They just needed to focus on the storyline of Peter, him trying to control his powers and just embracing his new transformation. If you haven't watched Spider-Man Brand New Day, I think you guys are going to be in there for a treat.